We live in really fast times. The external environment is just getting more polluted by the day, and our lifestyle is getting no better. Some of the choices we make are extremely poor, sometimes uninformed, and sometimes absolutely ignorant. It's just a matter of time. If not made the right choices, you're waiting to contract some lifestyle disease. Welcome to a show that helps you know the truth of how to prevent lifestyle diseases. And to give this information, we have on board with us Sejal Vora. Sejal Vora is a nutritionist and a naturotherapist, a very unique one that too. She treats everything from a common cold to something as fatal as cancer only with food. Yes, she believes that food is medication, and she has a very unique approach where she helps her clients communicate with their bodies and thereby be their own doctors. Let's welcome Sejal Vora. Hi Sejal, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
So let's get straight to it. What is heart disease?
Well, heart disease is an umbrella term for various conditions such as heart attacks, strokes, angina, irregular heartbeats, rheumatic heart disease, cholesterol, high blood pressure, to name a few. It's also known as cardiovascular disease. And so heart disease encompasses all of these conditions, one or few or more.
Wow, did you know that? I thought heart disease was a heart attack.
Well,
really,
heart attack is just one form of heart disease.
Okay. So what is it that causes heart diseases? I mean, a few things that you could touch upon that, at least will give people an idea as to these are the things that cause heart diseases.
Well, since it is the truth about heart disease and preventing heart disease, the most important cause of heart disease is anger, stress, and being extremely anxious. This is the root cause for heart disease. This is where it all begins. As I mentioned, your heart is the center of your life. It is where love comes from. And so when there is lack of love, and when there is excess anger, when there is stress, these are the emotions that will lead to the onset to start heart diseases. People today have different types of stress, whether it's making ends meet or relationships or even work stress. For competition is so fierce out there that people are constantly stressed about everything. And that, honestly, I have seen in my personal experience, is the root cause of where heart issues start from.
That stress, huge cause for heart disease. Anything else?
Well, again, heart disease is primarily a lifestyle disease, and so bad food, nutrition, which is extremely important for the heart, is what is compromised in our society today. So we eat very low quality food, especially in the corporate sector, where I see people don't have time to cook food, bring food from home, tend to eat outside and don't realize the quality of the food that you're eating, which ends up basically causing a lot of health issues, because people tend to eat food which is cheap, and cheap food unfortunately uses cheap ingredients. Poor, cheap nutrition, which has no nutritional value, is one of the primary causes at a physical level that causes heart disease. So eating low quality food contributes to heart disease because the oils that are used in cooking these low grade foods are extremely detrimental for the heart. They're known as trans fats that we'll go into a little later, but nutrition is one of the prime causes for this lifestyle disease, which leads to cholesterol and high blood pressure.
Stress, nutrition. Anything else?
Yes. What also contributes to heart disease are substances like excessive alcohol consumption, excessive smoking, or any other substances, chewing tobacco. It's extremely bad for you. And again, coming back to sleep patterns. Rest. Rest is very, very important for the human body. Your heart is tirelessly pumping and working for you day in and day out, including when you sleep. And so it is very important that you get a good amount of rest for your body to be able to heal anything that it may need to. However, one of the important causes that cause heart disease is inflammation. Inflammation is basically the body's natural response to deal with virus, bacteria, toxicity. As the virus, bacteria or toxicity start building up due to a poor lifestyle, the body starts to get inflamed. It is inflammation that starts to trap the cholesterol and cause other issues. And so inflammation is very, very important in causing heart disease. Basically, inflammation happens in the arteries, in the vessels, in and around the heart, based on what the issue is. You wouldn't even know that there is inflammation unless you got a CRP blood test done, which would show us how much inflammation there is in the body. And sedentary lifestyle, which is
of course,
again,
how could we forget that?
Yes, obesity basically is another reason and cause for heart disease. So it's very, very important that one has an active lifestyle, because being very sedentary will lead to becoming overweight, which will then lead to heart disease if not taken care of.
Often you realize that when you get a heart attack, you always thought you were fit and you got a heart attack. So why is it that nobody sees it coming?
Because the symptoms are extremely silent and it's very easy to not know that you have a heart issue. And that's why it is the #1 killer, because most people don't even know they have it, you know. And so it's very, very important that you understand the symptoms and watch your body and communicate with your body, especially if you're a person that's stressed a lot. Heart disease is not uncommon with people who are stressed.
Okay. So when you say the symptoms are subtle, what are the things that we could look for?
Sure. The first symptom that people experience or could experience is shortness of breath. So if you feel that you're getting breathless even without exercising or exerting yourself physically, that could be a symptom. Palpitations, where you feel like your heart is beating really fast, or irregular heartbeats, those also could be symptoms for heart disease. You also have discomfort or pain in your chest, in your arm, in your jaw, under your rib cage. If you're experiencing pain in any of these areas for over a period of 2 weeks, it could possibly be that there is a heart-related issue. Over and above that, this symptom might seem very normal, which is indigestion, bloating, some feeling of choking. Sometimes it might even feel like just a heartburn. But if you do find that these symptoms persist, it could be possible that there is a problem with the heart and should be checked into.
Basically, you just put half the country into the bracket of having heart disease. But I guess that is the case also. Everyone out there is suffering with heart diseases.
It is becoming extremely rampant, and I contributed to city life and city lifestyle, because heart disease is the center of your life. If your heart stops beating, nothing else matters, you know. And so it is extremely important that people understand that a heart disease is not to be taken mildly, and even though symptoms may not appear, regular checkups are good and are important, especially if it's in your family history.
Okay. At what age should I be concerned about maybe getting a checkup, or any marker there? I mean,
well, it deeply saddens me to say this, but today I have patients with heart diseases starting at 25 years of age. I mean, just a decade back, it was happening to people in their 50s and 60s. But today I see younger and younger people becoming victim to heart diseases because the lifestyle has deteriorated so much that they don't even know they have a condition, and straight from one day being in office, next day they're not there.
yeah, that's true. Your top few foods that, according to you, should be completely avoided if you don't want or prevent yourself from heart disease?
Well, to be very honest, more than the actual food, I want to focus on the types of foods that you shouldn't eat. And the first type of food is trans fats. Trans fats are primarily your refined oils. The oils that you get in the supermarket, which say refined, are the worst type of oils to eat. And so trans fat is a number one no-no for somebody who wants to stay away from heart disease. Just to give you an example, your vada pav, your samosas, all of these roadside foods primarily are cooked in these sort of refined oils. These refined oils are completely stripped of all their nutrition, and there is a whole load of chemicals that are added to it to give it a longer shelf life so that they all look matching at the store and there's no return policy on oils.
Can you imagine people out there thinking double refined, triple refined is like way better, like it's good for you?
It's not. Natural oils are the best type of fats that you need to eat, one that you get from nuts and seeds. But these trans fats, which are basically coming from factories in processed and packaged foods, is the number one no-no if you want to stay away from heart disease. The number two killer and of what not to eat is the wrong type of salt. Unfortunately, today a lot of people don't realize the ill effects of table salt. Just like I spoke about refined oils, these table salts are again chemically processed in factories. All their nutrition is depleted. Salt, primarily natural salt, consists of only 83% sodium chloride, whereas table salts consist of 98% sodium chloride. And so when you have a heart disease, the doctor tells you to cut down on your salt. But in alternative medicine, we absolutely don't recommend cutting salt because salt is extremely crucial for your health. However, eating the right salt and eating it in moderation is actually the key to keeping heart disease at bay. And so you definitely want to completely give up all refined salts in your diet.
No refined oil, no refined salts.
No refined flour, no refined wheat. And the reason that refined products are bad for the heart is because they are refined. And when we say refining, unfortunately, it is stripping all the nutrition out of the food and adding more toxic chemicals. The human body does not know what to do with these toxic chemicals. Our body is created to eat from foods that grow on the earth. When we start eating chemicals and bleach and aluminum, the body gets highly toxic, which therefore then leads to inflammation, which could then possibly lead to severe heart issues.
Might be completely, of course not off topic, but I have read somewhere that your body tends to store fat as a defense mechanism. Is that true?
Absolutely. When toxicity builds up in the body starts to store fat and water to dilute these fat-soluble and water-soluble toxins. And that again eventually has grave repercussions if not taken care of.
Wow, the body is really smart to do something like that.
Very intelligent. The body is by far the most intelligent gadget you will ever come across in this today's day and age where it is life on gadgets. This gadget, people don't even understand how advanced, how superior and how intelligent this gadget is. If you had a manual on how to operate it, you wouldn't even understand the first page of it. It's so complex. And you know, the beauty is that the body doesn't require you to know it. The body already knows it. It just requires you to communicate with it. The body communicates with you through pain, through discomfort. So if you're feeling discomfort, if you're feeling a pain in the arm, you have to stop just popping that painkiller. You need to address it. You need to understand why is that arm hurting. We don't tend to go to the root of the problem. We have no time. All we need to do is suppress the pain because we have a meeting to go to, we have a train to catch, we have a plane to catch. And as a result, the body eventually stops even communicating that because it knows that you're not listening. And eventually, slowly and steadily, it creeps up on you.
It's marvelous how your body It's communicating to you through pain and through signals like this. I think it's absolutely enchanting. But what's really sad is what the corporates would do. They have stressful lives. They have packaged foods. What should one eat to be able to be fit and not have heart diseases?
Well, it takes a little bit of discipline, but it's very simple if you put your mind to it. And I say this to corporates because I work with a lot of corporates, and I just tell people that if you're going to have dinner at home, cook a little extra and take it for your lunch the next day. That's all. Just put it in the refrigerator, pack that box right after dinner, pull it out of your fridge. Fruits. Have fruits. In India, we're so blessed to have places where you can access bananas, coconuts, fruit juices. Have natural fruits. Don't keep having that quick fix snacks. Don't keep drinking 4 and 5 and 7 cups of tea and coffee a day. Switch over to lemon water. You get nimbu pani almost everywhere. If you have a clean bottle of water, he'll make it for you. So the choices that a corporate has to make is to figure ways out to carry foods from home that are easy to carry, easy to eat, and easy to store and heat.
Let's assume you cannot do that. What advice would you have for people like that?
Well, at least eat from places that you know have higher quality standard kitchens versus eating from a street vendor. Street vendors, unfortunately, is the poorest choice. If your corporate company has a kitchen, you can inquire about the type of oil and salt that they use and ensure that they're not using refined oils and table salts. A lot of corporates are now becoming aware and are understanding the importance of healthy food, and with the few years of work that I've been doing with corporate kitchens are vamping up to suit a more healthier lifestyle. However, my recommendation would be that if you even had to go out and eat something, try and eat something steamed like an idli or a dosa versus a deep fried food, you know?
Correct. You know, the reason I bring about this example of corporates, because I just feel like the working class, men or women, you know, I mean, who go out, who work, they don't have access to good food. The external environment is so hard on them. I guess they probably have more stressful lives also, you know, so I just feel for them. I just feel like they're limited with such limited options, you know.
Well, honestly, Siddharth, it's not just the corporate goers, it's about anybody who carries stress. Heart disease is more prevalent in men than women, and I've seen in my experience that whether the man is sitting at home or whether he's in a corporate job or whether he owns a business, it all depends on the type of stress and the amount of stress that you have that leads to this. Because a lot of times what happens is when you're stressed out, you tend to eat, you tend to overeat. So whether you're at home or whether you're out, if you want to binge and you want to eat, you are going to go and do it, you know. So it applies across the board that if one wants to keep heart disease at bay, these are the following foods that one must try and incorporate into their lifestyle to be able to prevent any future heart disease or heart issues.
Okay, so man or woman, working or staying at home, doesn't matter. Here is what you need to keep in mind when it comes to food and preventing heart diseases.
Foods that are rich in potassium and magnesium are very, very vital and important to prevent heart disease. Well, foods like mackerel fish, chickpeas, banana, spinach, potatoes, rajma, all of these foods are very good for the heart and must be consumed in moderation.
Okay.
Apart from that, you have vitamin E, and the rich source of vitamin E comes from whole wheat, nuts and seeds. Coming back to refined wheat and whole wheat actually carries a huge amount of vitamin E, and so when eaten, it acts as an antioxidant which helps keep your blood clean and helps you stay detoxed and clean on the inside, making foods like nuts and seeds very, very important.
Sure, and that's why the non-refined, when wheat is basically refined, it loses, I guess, its
vitamin E. Fiber is another very important food. Fiber actually prevents the cholesterol and glucose from being absorbed in the blood fast. Did you know that whole wheat and brown rice have 3 times more fiber than white rice and white bread?
I did. This one I did.
And fiber actually acts as a stool softener as well. It allows roughage to clear your system, and clearing your system is definitely a very, very important thing to do when you're talking about keeping your heart clean.
So fiber, quickly if I have to ask you, fiber in vegetables is
Yes,
again your
all
cauliflower,
your
broccoli,
leafy-
spinach.
Yes, all your leafy vegetables are all high fiber. But in terms of your staple diet, whole wheat and brown rice are also extremely high in fiber.
Sure.
Fruits is also a great food, especially dark colored fruits like jamuns, berries, strawberries. All of these dark colored fruits are very, very good for the heart because they're filled with antioxidants and work in helping prevent and strengthen the heart. Apart from that, what's also very important is that you eat dark leaf green vegetables. Dark green vegetables, dark green leafy vegetables are also very high in nitrates that are very good for the heart. And over and above that, you also have a very important food which is walnuts or flax seeds, because they are very high in alpha-linoleic acid and extremely good for the heart as well.
Okay. Are they, does flaxseed also have omega-3 fatty acid? That's the one, I believe.
Yes, it does, and it is not produced by the body, and therefore it is vital for us to consume it through flax seeds or through walnuts. So if you incorporate flax seeds or walnuts in your diet, where you just chomp on a few walnuts every day, it actually helps to keep your heart healthy.
Wow, that's an interesting and elaborate list. Thanks for that. You know, I think I'm extremely clear now, at least in terms of my nutrition, because you've given such an elaborate understanding of food and what to eat and what not to eat, that I don't think I'll go wrong, you know, in terms of the choices I make with food. And I hope you don't too, because this was a really good understanding of food. Maybe your top 3 or 4 things, apart from nutrition, that you'd want to tell us that we can do to keep heart diseases at bay.
Well, if I were to choose the top 3 things, my number 1 would be meditation. Meditation is extremely effective in working with heart issues because, as I mentioned earlier, stress, anxiety, restlessness, anger, all of these emotions are very toxic to the body, and meditation is one sure shot technique which definitely reduces a lot of stress. So meditation would be number 1, any form of meditation. Number 2 would be to stop eating processed junk foods.
Sure.
And the third would be exercise, movement. It is the key to a healthy heart and a healthy life.
Sure. Anything else? You mentioned something about bad fat earlier.
Yes.
You said you'll speak about something to do with good fat. Anything in that?
Yes. Fats are very, very important. There is monosaturated and polyunsaturated fats. However, what's important to understand is that fats that come from natural sources like nuts and seeds and plants are the healthy fats. Fats that stay at room temperature in a liquid format are also decent fats if consumed in moderation. For example, ghee, coconut oil, all of these, if they are not refined, if they are in their natural state and cold press format, these fats are actually very, very important. People need to understand that the human body is like a machine. It is a mechanism. Any machine requires oilation for smooth functionings, for you to be able to move your joints. If you're not oiled well, then you are going to lead and you are going to go into deeper health issues. And so this whole misconception of trying to give up fat to avoid heart disease is actually incorrect.
This has actually stayed with me, and I'll admit it, when you told me that every disease starts in the mind.
Yes.
Something for the mind.
Absolutely. I have an affirmation that if recited 21 times before sleeping every night will definitely help you with any sort of heart issue. If you feel like you're coming on with a heart issue, chanting this affirmation or singing it or even writing it will definitely create a huge difference.
Right.
My heart beats to the rhythm of love. I release tension and pressure. My blood vessels are open and relaxed. Every day, in every way, my heart is getting healthier and stronger.
I think this last bit, this affirmation bit, is turning out to be my favorite, seriously. But on a more serious note, thank you, Sejal. Thank you for sharing all this knowledge and all this wisdom that you've shared with us today. Thanks.
Thank you too.